Phew, well, I am exhausted this morning. Last night we had a really awesome 4th of July celebration on the homestead. Had a bunch of friends and family come over. We ate, we had a good time, lit off a bunch of fireworks. Kids had a blast. Couldn't have asked for it to come better. But it's the following morning now, and I've got to get back to work. We've been a little MIA on this camp build for a little while because we've got a rental house down below. And for the last month or so, we've been putting all of our time into getting it ready. So somebody's finally moved in, which is awesome. Now it's time to get back to building this camp. So what I'm gonna be doing today is I've got a piece of equipment again. I've got to dig in another 100 amp service and take it to a sub panel on the back of this first cabin. And then from there, I'll be burying number 12 wire to each cabin. Once I get that done, I've got to dig in 900 feet of black roll that will go from the spring at the top of the holler, and it's gonna come all the way down here to the bathhouse. So I better get going. Okay, I've got the first trench dug, and I've got my 100 amp service cable laid out. So I'm gonna get it buried in there a little more. I'm gonna start sliding the conduit over it, bury this, and then I'm gonna start digging the trenches from this cabin to each individual cabin and put that number 12 wire in the ground. Well, just when you start to make some progress, here comes the rain. It's not gonna stop me though, I gotta keep working through it. All right, well, at least the rain stopped. Sun is out now. So I've got the conduit pulled over, a 100 amp service cable. So now I've got to go ahead and get this buried, move on to the next part. All right, we've got the trenches dug for the number 12 wire. And so now we're gonna go ahead and light in there and then get it in the conduit and get it covered back up. Okay, we got all the number 12 wire ran. Every one of these cabins has the number 12 coming up, stubbed up in the cabin and is ready to be wired together. The other thing that we didn't announce yet is that about a week ago, the guys finished up and our whole septic system is in. That's what all this cleared area is. Septic is done, signed off and approved. That's good. So we can make the next steps towards getting the bathhouse finished. So I'm gonna head in, I'm gonna get something to eat, and I'm gonna rest and come back out all fresh tomorrow to get more of this done. While I do that, why don't you check out some of this old footage from when this septic system process started. It's very cool. Check it out. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, so the campground itself, the facilities, is it any of it going to be tent camping, or is it all going to be in the homes, the maximum that you can put in these homes that you're building, or the whatever it is you're building, the structures?
Yeah, it'll all be structures, so there's no...
The maximum is 4 people. Is that what you're asking?
Well, yes. You said the maximum number of people will be 24 though.
Yeah, so there's gonna be 4.
But it's not tent camping, it's camping.
No, they're like cabins.
Okay.
They're tiny cabins.
It's
yeah.
like 6 cabins, 4 per cabin.
Yeah.
And the campground itself is going to be structures. They're going to do some structures, and they want a maximum of 24 people. And they're wanting a bathhouse instead of bathrooms in the structures. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And so I'm needing to know, like, how many gallons per day, how to size this bathhouse on this property.
Okay, so maximum of 24 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bathhouse will just have...
It'll have 2 showers, 2 toilets, and 2 sinks.
Did you get
okay,
that?
just toilets, sinks, and showers.
Yep, 2 of each.
You got a pen, Anthony?
Okay. Hold on. Let me look at a couple things first before I say anything. At 100 gallons a campsite, so that's 5 gallons a person. So for your 24 people, 25 times 24,
Averaging 30.
that'd be 600 gallons a day. Double check. 25 times 24 is equal to, yep, 600 gallons a day.
That's what
Awesome.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
pretty
what I
good.
needed to know.
So low flow fixtures,
Y'all hear that?
and the like, you know, which is generally standard, but I would also try to make sure that that's the case for the showers. Make sure you get showers that are just low flow. That way then if you do have somebody who wants to stand and take a longer shower,
It's a good idea.
Which they will.
you're just not using as much water.
That's
like it.
perfect.
Good idea.
All right, Trish. You're gonna need like 400 foot.
I was guessing 360,
Close, yeah. So
so 400.
finding that big of a spot. So what we need to do first is find a place big enough to get 400 linear feet away from the water
Okay.
in the ground.
Okay.
All right. Plus, by law, you have to have a repair area.
Okay.
So we gotta find that 400 foot because it has to be on contour.
And you can make it a few different size pipes to get to
Yes,
the 400,
yes,
correct?
yes,
I can make
Okay.
different lines. Yes,
Yes.
different
So we
length
can-
lines.
Okay.
As long as I can combination all of them to make 400 feet.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so that will help make it not
Right.
so.
So let's find an area that will fit that, and then maybe you guys can build around it. Is that fair enough?
Yes.
Yeah, I
We're
think
just
we can
happy
make
Because
that
at this
work.
point
I'll
we
put
need
it
to do
wherever
that.
you-
Yeah,
See, but
yeah.
now I
I'll
can't
literally
go
put
over
it wherever you want.
150 in one continuous line.
Okay.
That was our
That's-
part of our concern this whole time. Is it's just such an awkwardly shaped area.
Right.
So it was like, where can it work
Yeah.
for the system?
Yeah, and we didn't want to plan our cabins until we
Yeah,
knew
right.
where you wanted.
Sometimes
to
we
set
have to do it this way.
That's good.
Almost had to be trunk on this one.
Oh,
That little valley, is it on the other side or in the valley or?
Probably about in the valley, the
Yeah,
property line, I would
probably.
guess.
And then, okay, in that valley, all the way up to the top, you're saying?
Correct. It comes up, it about borders this little stream all the way up, and about where that black plastic is, there's a flag, and it turns and heads up.
it's a very weird shape.
Yeah.
Really, really weird shape.
There's a reason why I'm asking though. We have to have a place, if something happened to that, it's away from the water, on your property, to fix it.
Okay.
Yeah, by law, anything we build in North Carolina, you have to have that.
Okay.
So if Anthony brings his machine, as long as he's digging from here over to that little valley,
Mm-hmm.
we're good.
Okay.
No, I'm asking you, that we're
Yeah.
on your property.
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Awesome.
Okay, and so these are test holes in case that septic system breaks, you need to put it somewhere else?
Yeah, well, we're gonna dig test
That's
holes
what it-
down here
Okay.
to make sure that's okay.
Okay.
This is plan B.
That's
If
what
that
okay.
fails, this is what has to happen.
You could have a big bunny there. Let's see here. Oh, I see. She's measuring with that too. Are you getting all that?
Almost like a clay in a way, right?
Clay lawn. Sandy clay lawn. Now, we go down just a little bit further. Now, feel how much more grittier.
Oh yeah, big difference.
Sandy clay lawn. Right? Yeah. And then,
So is that, I mean, is that what you're looking for it to get grittier?
well,
And...
I'm looking to see if there's any water in them. Any signs of moisture or wetness. Gray.
Okay.
Gray is indicative of it. I don't see any. And we got rock, right? Of course,
Definitely rock.
lots of rock. But diggable rock. And then I'm trying to figure out how far down do we go before we can't dig. So I know how deep this has to be, right?
Okay.
So this one. Right here is nothing but loam. I mean, look at that. It says
Yeah.
good for hogs and potatoes.
Everything. I know the top layer of this dirt is really good.
Right in this area, right?
So that whole system is only that deep, the drain field?
Right. You gotta have 6 inches of cover, and then
Okay.
the chambers themselves that we probably will use here are 12 inches.
Okay.
So you're looking the top of it here, and the bottom, being about right in there, right?
Okay.
So that's why we can't go through that. You went
Yeah, because it's
right
already
there, it would be coming out the side.
I see.
Dang it, pig.
So the pigs have dug so deep through here by rooting that we actually can't run the drain fields for the septic system through this part of the yard because of how deep it's become.
Got some treasures.
I think there's a lot of treasures around here if you dig deep enough.
That's what I was just saying.
Everybody, if y'all ever found gold, please let me know. 'Cause
Oh,
people ask me that all the time. Do you ever find? I'm like, no, because I'm
probably not very
doing
common.
this anymore. It's like, but you see the difference, right? You don't have hardly any of the rocks.
No rock.
All those rocks over here just landed
They
right
wash
in that area.
down. This is the dirt I want for my garden.
Good.
Right there.
That's
That
good.
black-
That's
that
good looking
black
dirt
stuff
right
down
there. Just the topsoil.
Yeah.
Now feel this. Feel how it's silky feeling.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean,
Weighted.
it just, yeah.
It doesn't really compact like
No,
the other
clay.
stuff did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a lot more sand in this. Is that correct? I mean, it almost looks like
We
it.
call it, this we would call silty clay lawn.
Called what?
Silty clay lawn.
Oh, okay.
Silty.
Okay.
It feels like flour on your hands.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
And now look.
And it doesn't
See
really
how
stick.
It looks like flour,
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
and it takes water well. I'm gonna leave the flags for right now for you guys to figure out.
Sure.
Probably when they bring this shed, they're gonna knock some of them down. But I'm gonna leave this here for you so you can kind of work around what y'all want to do.
Okay.
All right. It's the following morning. We're about to get started again on finishing up this water line from the spring at the top of the holler and getting it over here to the bathhouse to get us some running water. So I hope you enjoyed that footage from the septic. That was a pretty cool experience. We've never done anything like that. It was pretty cool to have the kids be involved and get to see what they're looking for in the dirt, sandy soil, rocks, and all that kind of stuff. So that was cool. So we're gonna get fired up and get to digging. Here we go. What do you think you're doing? Oh, you're just gonna run it the whole time? Are you gonna dig the whole thing? Can I go take a nap? Yeah. Thank you.
The pigs pooped out a bunch of like plant seeds, and it grew a bunch of stuff like squash. God, look at the size of it. This one just has a bunch of flowers and a bunch of tomatoes, corn. There's corn in the middle of tomatoes. This is probably about the biggest corn.
of the water line I was doing today is in. That was probably about 200 feet from this first cabin over to the bathhouse. And now what I've got to do is take it from this end right here, and I've got to go up the holler. This is probably closer to 400 feet, maybe even more, that I've got to do for this section. So better get comfortable because I'm gonna be sitting on this thing for a while. All right, so here's the spring that we're tying into. It's coming out of the side of the mountain here somewhere. And at some point, I think somebody intended on using it. That's why this is all dug out. But they never ended up finishing putting the full spring in. So you can see it just fills up. There's a little pool here, and it just runs down the mountain. And that's a lot of years of wasted water that could have been stored somewhere or used, in my opinion. So that's why we consider ourselves very fortunate that we had this extra spring to use down at the camp. So you can see what I'm dealing with now. Because of all these years of runoff, it's just a big mud pit in here that I'm digging. And I've probably got, I would say, 50 feet or so of muck like this to dig through till it starts to dry out a little bit. Because somewhere down the hill, the water kind of veers off sideways and no longer comes into the road where I'm at. So I'm gonna get through all this muck, connect with the other end of the trench I already started, lay the water line in, and then hopefully be done with this for the day. Whew, okay, I'm a little stiff getting off that thing. Oh, I'd say it was probably about an hour and a half. But I've got that whole trench dug all the way from the top all the way down to the other end that I need to connect to. So let's get Mom and Juliet out here to help us. Let's get this water line laid in, yeah?
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Well, we're done. We finished another big phase in this campground build. We've now got our water line ran to the bathhouse. We've got power to every one of our buildings. The electricians will be out here Wednesday to get started, to start hooking everything up. The septic is done. Whew, exhausted. I think I put in about 18 hours between yesterday and today getting all this done. So I've got a couple little things to finish. I just got to smooth out where this trench was, and then I'm parking this thing. The next phase is a lot of contractors coming. The electricians are coming. We've got a couple guys coming to do the spring, and then plumbers coming to do the rough-in plumbing for the bathhouse. There are some things that are required to be done by a contractor that I can't do myself. So once they're done, then we'll be moving on to what we can finish ourselves. Insulating the cabins, finishing the insides, building the bunk beds, all kinds of cool stuff. So we really appreciate you guys checking out our channel and checking out what we're doing here in the homestead and this whole campground build. Please like and subscribe so that way you can continue to follow along, because there's a lot more to come. All right, thanks.